and welcome to this special episode of our English Learning Podcast. If you are planning a trip, or if you dream of traveling one day, this episode is for you. Today, we're going to learn English for travel. Simple, useful, and practical expressions that will help you from the moment you decide to book a flight to the moment you arrive at your destination. Whether you're going to visit a new country, travel for business, or go on vacation, this episode will teach you how to speak English during every part of your journey. We'll go step by step, using real-life examples and phrases you can repeat and practice. You don't need to speak fast, and you don't need perfect grammar. What matters is that people understand you and that you feel confident. In this episode, I will speak slowly and clearly. I will repeat important phrases and explain words so that you can understand everything. You can listen and repeat with me. That is one of the best ways to learn. And remember, English is not about perfection. It's about connection. So, let's begin our journey. Let's start with Chapter 1, Booking a Trip. Chapter 1, Booking a Trip. When you decide to travel, the first thing you usually do is book your trip. That means choosing where you want to go, how you will get there, and when you want to travel. In English, we use the verb to book to mean to reserve something. You can book a flight, book a hotel, or book a seat on a bus or a train. For example, you might say, I want to book a flight to New York. Or, I would like to book a round-trip ticket to London. Let's break that down. A round-trip ticket means you go and come back. You leave your city, and later, you return. If you only want to go one way, you ask for a one-way ticket. You can say, I need a one-way ticket to Toronto. These are very useful phrases when you are at a travel agency or using a website. Today, many people use travel websites or apps to book their trips. Websites like Expedia, Booking.com, or Google Flights help you find tickets easily. You choose your departure city, your destination, the dates, and then you compare the prices. Departure means the place and time where your trip begins. Destination is the place where you want to go. So, for example, departure, Bogota. Destination, Miami. When you are looking at flight options, you may notice different types of flights. Some are direct flights, which means there are no stops. You go straight from one city to another. Other flights have layovers, which means you stop in another city before continuing your trip. For example, my flight to Paris has a layover in Madrid. Or, I prefer a direct flight because it's faster. Now let's imagine you are at a travel agency. You can say, Hello, I would like to book a flight. The agent might ask, Where would you like to go? You answer, I want to go to Los Angeles. Then they ask, What date are you planning to travel? You say, I want to leave on September 15th and return on September 25th. Let's repeat that slowly together. I want to leave on September 15th and return on September 25th. They may also ask you, do you prefer a window seat or an aisle seat? A window seat is next to the window. An aisle seat is next to the corridor or passage. You can say, I prefer a window seat. Or, aisle seat, please. Once you choose your flight, the next step is payment. The agent might say, How would you like to pay? You can answer, By credit card, please. After that, they give you a confirmation, and sometimes a printed ticket or an email with your travel details. Another important question is about baggage. You can ask, Is baggage included? Or, How many bags can I check in? Some tickets include one checked bag, others only include a small carry-on. A checked bag is the one you give at the airport. A carry-on is the small bag you keep with you. Now, let's imagine you are booking your trip online, using your phone or your computer. You choose the flight you like, and then you fill out a form. You type your full name, your passport number, your email, and sometimes your seat preference. At the end, you click Confirm or Book Now. A few minutes later, you receive a confirmation email. In that email, you find your ticket number, your booking code, your flight time, and your terminal information. Let's practice a few useful phrases for booking online. I found a cheap flight online. The flight leaves at 9 a.m. I will arrive in Toronto at 4 p.m. My booking code is A7X2M. I have a round-trip ticket. Remember, when you book a trip, it's very important to double-check the dates, the names, and the flight numbers. Sometimes, people make small mistakes. Maybe they write the wrong date or spell their name incorrectly. Always check carefully. You can say, "Let me double-check the information before I confirm." And finally, it's helpful to write down your travel details, your booking number, your departure time, and your confirmation email. Save a screenshot in your phone. It will make your trip easier later. So now, you've booked your trip. You know your flight time. You have your ticket. You are ready to go to the airport. Chapter 2. At the airport. Now that you have your flight booked, it's time to go to the airport. For many people, going to the airport is exciting, but it can also be stressful, especially if you're traveling alone or going to a country where people speak a different language. But don't worry. If you learn a few key expressions and understand the basic steps, everything will be much easier. Let's imagine this together. The day of your trip has arrived. You have your passport, your ticket or boarding pass, and your luggage. You get in a taxi and say, "To the airport, please." The driver may ask, "Which terminal?" If you don't know, you can say, "I'm flying with American Airlines." The terminal usually depends on the airline. When you arrive at the airport, the first thing you do is find the check-in counter. Every airline has its own counter. You can look at the screens or signs to find your airline's name and logo. For example, Delta Airlines, check-in, counters 10 to 14. You walk to the counter, and the agent greets you. They might say, "Good morning. May I see your passport and ticket, please?" You respond, "Here you go," or "Yes, of course." The agent will check your documents and ask a few simple questions like, "Are you checking any bags today?" That means, are you leaving a large suitcase to go in the plane's cargo area? If yes, you say, "Yes, I have one bag to check." They might also ask, "Did you pack your bags yourself?" Or, "Are you carrying any liquids or sharp objects?" These are standard security questions. You can say, "Yes, I packed my bags," and "No, I don't have any liquids or sharp objects." Once everything is confirmed, the agent gives you your boarding pass. This is the document that shows your name, flight number, gate, seat number, and boarding time. You can say, "Thank you," and the agent might say, "Enjoy your flight," or "Have a nice trip." Now, you move to the security check. This part can feel a little confusing the first time, so let's go through it slowly. First, you look for signs that say security or departures. You get in line and wait your turn. When it's your turn, an officer will ask you to place your bags on a tray and put them through an X-ray machine. You may also need to remove your laptop, your liquids, your shoes, your jacket, and sometimes your belt. Here's a typical conversation you might hear. "Please place your bags on the belt." "Take off your shoes, please." "Do you have any electronics?" You respond, "Yes, here is my laptop," or "No, I don't." After that, you walk through a metal detector. If there's no problem, you collect your things and continue. Sometimes, an officer might need to check something in your bag. Don't panic. It's normal. Just smile and be polite. You can say, "Sure, go ahead," or "That's okay." Once you're through security, you're in the departure area. Now you can relax a little. This is the part of the airport where you can find restaurants, shops, bathrooms, and your boarding gate. Look at the screens to find your gate. The screen shows the flight number, destination, boarding time, and gate number. For example, Flight AA-104, New York, Gate B-22, boarding at 6:45 p.m. If you are not sure where to go, you can ask, "Excuse me, where is Gate B-22? Can you help me find my gate?" Now let's talk about boarding. Boarding means the process of getting on the plane. It usually starts 30 to 45 minutes before departure. When it's time to board, the airline staff will make an announcement. You might hear, "Flight 104 to New York is now boarding at Gate B-22. We are now boarding passengers in Group 1. Many airlines board in groups, so check your boarding pass. It will say Boarding Group 3 or Zone 2. Wait for your group to be called. When it's your turn, go to the gate and show your boarding pass and passport. The agent might say, "Have a good flight," and you can say, "Thank you." Let's pause and practice a few key phrases together. Where is the check-in counter? I'm flying with United Airlines. Can I see your passport and ticket? Yes, I have one bag to check. Do I need to take off my shoes? What time does the flight board? Which gate is my flight? Sometimes, flights are delayed. This is very common, so don't worry. You might hear an announcement like, "We apologize for the delay. Your flight is now scheduled to depart at 8:15 p.m. If you don't understand the announcement, you can go to the information desk and say, "Excuse me, my flight was delayed. Can you help me?" What time does Flight 104 depart now? Now, one last thing before you board the plane. Keep your passport and boarding pass in your hand or in a safe pocket. You will need them again when you enter the plane. Also, it's a good idea to go to the bathroom before boarding and to bring a water bottle or snack if the flight is long. So now, you've made it through check-in, passed security, found your gate, and it's time to board the plane. You're almost ready for takeoff. In the next chapter, we'll talk about what happens on the plane, how to talk to the flight attendants, what to expect during the flight, and how to understand important announcements. Chapter 3, On the Plane. Now that you've made it through security and found your gate, you are ready to board the plane. This can be an exciting moment. You're about to leave one country and fly to another. Maybe it's your first flight, or maybe you travel often. Either way, flying can feel a little confusing at first. But don't worry, we'll go step by step, and I'll explain everything in clear, simple English. Let's imagine this moment. The airline staff has called your group. You walk down the boarding bridge, or sometimes you take a bus to the plane. At the entrance to the aircraft, a flight attendant is waiting. They smile and say, "Good evening. Welcome aboard." You show your boarding pass, and they might say, "Seat 14A. Go straight ahead and to your left." Now you walk down the narrow aisle of the airplane, looking for your seat. The seats are labeled by numbers and letters. For example, row 14, seat A. The letters usually go from A to F. A is by the window, B and C are in the middle, and F is by the aisle. If you don't know where your seat is, you can ask another flight attendant, "Excuse me, where is seat 14A? Once you find your seat, it's time to store your luggage. If you have a small suitcase or backpack, you place it in the overhead bin above your seat. You might hear the flight attendant say, "Please place larger bags in the overhead compartment and keep smaller items under the seat in front of you." Now it's time to sit down and get comfortable. Fasten your seatbelt by pulling the strap across your lap and clicking it into place. You will hear an announcement. Please make sure your seatbelt is securely fastened. We are preparing for takeoff. Please put your seat in the upright position. Before the plane takes off, the flight attendants give a safety demonstration. They will show you how to use the seatbelt, where the emergency exits are, and how to use an oxygen mask in case of an emergency. You don't have to do anything during this time. Just listen and watch. Let's practice some important phrases and vocabulary you may hear on the plane. Please remain seated. We are now ready for takeoff. In case of emergency, follow the lights to the nearest exit. The flight time today will be approximately 8 hours. Now, the plane starts to move. You feel the engines get louder, and then suddenly, you're in the air. You are flying. Maybe you feel nervous, or maybe you're excited. It's okay to feel both. If you are scared of flying, take a deep breath. Look out the window. It can be beautiful to see the world from above. You can say to yourself, I'm doing something new. I'm learning. I'm growing. After the plane is in the air, the flight attendants will begin serving drinks and snacks. They come down the aisle with a cart and ask, would you like something to drink? You can say, yes, water please, or orange juice please. They might ask, would you like a snack? You can say, yes, I'll have the crackers, or no, thank you. Some airlines serve full meals, especially on long international flights. A flight attendant might ask, chicken or pasta? You can respond, chicken please, or what does the pasta come with? Don't be afraid to ask questions. They're used to helping travelers from around the world. Let's go over more useful phrases you might say or hear during the flight. Excuse me, can I get a blanket? Could I have some water? Where is the restroom? I feel a little sick. Can I move to another seat? If there are empty seats, they might say, yes, you can move after takeoff. Now, let's talk about turbulence. Sometimes during a flight, the plane moves up and down slightly. This is called turbulence. It can feel a bit scary, but it's very normal. The pilot may make an announcement like, we are experiencing some turbulence. Please return to your seat and fasten your seatbelt. When you hear that, don't panic. Just sit down and buckle your seatbelt. You can also ask the flight attendant if you feel uncomfortable. Is everything okay? And they will usually smile and say, yes, it's normal. During the flight, you can also read, watch a movie, listen to music, or sleep. If you want to sleep, you can say, could I have a pillow, please? Or, can you wake me up before the meal? If your flight is long, it's good to stand up sometimes and stretch your legs. Just be polite to other passengers, and don't block the aisle for too long. After several hours, the pilot will announce, ladies and gentlemen, we are beginning our descent. Please return to your seats and fasten your seatbelt. That means the plane is going down slowly, preparing to land. You will also hear, please store your tray tables and put your seat in the upright position. Finally, the plane lands. You feel the wheels touch the ground, and everyone begins to prepare to leave. But don't stand up right away. The flight attendants will say, please remain seated until the seatbelt sign is off. Once it's safe, you stand up, collect your bag from the overhead bin, and follow the other passengers out of the plane. On your way out, the crew often says, thank you for flying with us. And you can say, thank you, or it was a great flight. Now you're off the plane. Welcome to your destination. In the next chapter, we'll talk about what happens after you land, going through immigration, answering questions at passport control, and picking up your bags at baggage claim. Chapter 5. Getting around the city. Welcome to your destination. You've passed immigration and customs, and now you are ready to enter the city. This is where your adventure really begins. But first, you need to know how to get around. How do you go from the airport to your hotel? How do you take a bus or taxi? How do you ask for directions if you get lost? In this chapter, we'll explore all of that with simple English phrases and vocabulary that will help you travel with confidence. Let's begin with the moment you leave the airport. Usually, you have several transportation options: taxi, bus, subway, train, or a rideshare like Uber or Lyft. If it's your first time in the country, the easiest and safest option is usually a taxi. You'll see a taxi area right outside the airport. There are signs that say taxis, and maybe a person helping to organize the line. You walk up to the taxi driver and say, "Hello, I need a ride to this address." Show them the address on your phone. "Can you take me to the Hilton Hotel, please?" The driver might say, "Sure. Get in." Or, "It will take about 30 minutes. Sometimes they'll tell you the price. It's $40. Or, the fare is $50 with tolls. If you want to be sure about the price before you go, ask, "How much is the fare? Is it a fixed price? Do you accept credit card?" Now you're in the taxi. You look outside and see a new city. It's exciting. You might ask the driver, "Is traffic always this bad? What's the best place to eat near here?" Some taxi drivers love to talk. Others prefer to drive in silence. You can decide if you want to practice your English or just relax. If you're using an app like Uber, the process is a little different. You open the app, type your destination, and wait for the car to arrive. When the driver comes, they might ask, "Are you Maria?" You say, "Yes, that's me." Once you're at your hotel or Airbnb, maybe you want to explore the city. But how? One of the best and cheapest ways is using public transportation. That includes buses, subways, and sometimes trams or trains. Every city is different, but here are some general phrases and situations to help you. Let's say you're on the street, and you want to take a bus. You walk to the bus stop. There's a sign with the number of the bus and a route map. You can ask someone, "Excuse me, does this bus go to downtown?" Or ask the driver when you get on, "Does this bus go to the museum?" If the driver says yes, you can ask, "How much is the fare? Do you take cash or card?" Then you pay and find a seat. When you want to get off, say, "Next stop, please," or just press the stop button. If you're in a big city like New York, London, or Toronto, you'll probably use the subway. It's fast, cheap, and easy once you learn how it works. Most stations have machines where you buy a card or a ticket. You might say to a worker, "Hi, I'm new here. Can you help me buy a Metro card? I need to get to Central Station. Which line should I take?" Here are more common phrases when asking for directions. "Excuse me, how do I get to the city center?" "Which train goes to the airport?" "Where is the nearest subway station?" "Is it far from here? Can you show me on the map?" If you're walking and feel lost, don't worry. People are usually happy to help. You can ask, "Hi, I'm a tourist. Can you help me find this street? I think I'm lost. Where am I on the map?" And if someone asks you for help, you can say, "Sorry, I'm not from here." Or, "I don't know. I'm just visiting." Remember, traveling is not about being perfect. It's about staying calm, asking questions, and using simple words. You don't need to speak fast or use big vocabulary. Just be friendly, be polite, and smile. Here are some extra phrases to remember. Can I walk there? Is it safe to walk at night? Do I need a ticket before getting on the bus? Where do I buy a Metro pass? After a few days, you'll feel more confident. You'll begin to recognize signs, symbols, and common announcements. Your English will improve because you're using it every day. And that's how you grow.